Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make over a few items in more of a shabby chic style. And actually I received some napkins that I ordered from Amazon in the mail, and I was so pleased with them that I decided that today's vignette is going to be using those napkins. And actually 3 of the items that I did in this vignette only took 1 napkin to do all 3. So it's a very economical makeover, especially since this little suitcase, or it's actually a little makeup suitcase, was given to me by a friend, and she had started it herself, and I decided to finish it. Somehow in storing that, it got some stains on it, and I tried my best to get those off, but wasn't able to, so I just decided to go ahead and go with it. And so I ended up adding some Van Dyke brown glaze to it in the end, so that it doesn't matter that that's stained. Paula had done such a good job with this, but again, it got stained really badly, and so I don't know how, but we're going to make it work. And these are the napkins that I purchased, and look at all this. These are large, so you get lots of roses on them, and the way that the napkin is made, it's very easy to separate each rose or each cluster of roses. So I take 2 of the layers off this. This is a 3-layered napkin, and I'm just left with the printed layer, and that's what I'm going to decoupage on this little trunk. So here I'm just tearing apart some of these roses, and I will place them randomly on this little case. Now I could have cut them out, but I just like the softer edges from tearing. And you could also use a water pen to draw a line where you want to tear and then tear it. But I find that with napkins, especially when you're working with 1 layer, you have to be really careful with the water that it doesn't bleed too far out and then go into the next image. So I just felt like I had more control here if I just did it without wetting the napkin. Now I have a wholesale place that I order Mexican imports from, and it used to be called G-Mex, but they recently changed the name to Galton, and it is Galton Wholesale in Texas. And so I had some wire planners that I had ordered, and if you haven't seen my store, I have a little what we call the she shed right in the center of the store. And so there's windows in the front of it, and right in front of each of those windows I placed one of those planters, and it has a shelf on the bottom and the opening on the top. So I thought when I placed them there today that it would be the perfect place to do a vignette. So now I'm going to have 2 little areas in front of that she shed that that I can make separate vignettes on. And so that's always nice to have extra little areas, especially for small vignettes, because you may get an item and only have maybe a few items in a certain color. So you don't want to work them into a whole vignette because it just doesn't work, but you can usually work them into a very small vignette. So as you can see here on the top is where all that staining was, and in trying to get that off, I scrubbed it, and then I end up using alcohol to try to get it off. And as you can see, the handle, it took a lot of the paint off the handle. So I have another plan for that anyway, so I'm not worried about that. And I don't like using a lot of decoupage, so I'm just using a very small amount of these and just kind of randomly placing them so that each little area has just a little something. So I end up doing this on all sides, and then I don't worry with doing any on the bottom, but all sides will get a little bit of these little images. Vintage suitcases are one of my favorite things to make over. And in this case, because it had such a good start on it, it was even more enjoyable to do. I didn't go through all the hard part. That was all done for me. Again, I was so pleased with these napkins, and I'll attach that link in the description because, again, I think it's a very good value. I can't remember exactly what I paid for them, but maybe $11 to $14. That's what I'm thinking, in that neighborhood. But again, they're large napkins, and I actually got 2 packs of them. Now that I don't like, simply because I will definitely use all these, because I use roses a lot and I love these soft colors. But just the average crafter is not going to use 2 whole packs of these, and so it would be better if you could get a lesser amount for a cheaper price. But again, it works fine for me, but it would be nice if you could get them at a cheaper price and not nearly as many. But myself, I never seem to have enough of the soft roses in the napkins, so anytime I can get a good deal on them, I buy them. Now, I'm still filling in the farmhouse kitchen area. The structural part of it is finished, and the vignettes are started, but I have some more fill-in that I could do. But I didn't want to burn you guys out with that one area, so I thought it might be time to do a little bit of Shabby Chic and just give you guys a little something different. So now that I have all the decoupage on and it's all dry, then I'm going to take some of my Van Dyke Brown Dixie Belle glaze and go over the entire piece. But before I did that, I took this outside and I sprayed it with a clear finish because I wanted to make sure that this glaze didn't grab too dark. I end up, though, continuing to add it until I do have quite a bit on it. And I even added a little more around the edges and corners just to, I just felt like it would look more aged if I added quite a bit more around the edges and corners. And then I just kind of faded it into the center. But I started lightly here and then just kind of kept adding until I was happy with the look that I got. And then I took my rag and just kind of dabbed around those corners and edges to really make it look more grungy around the edges. And then I just kind of smoothed out everything in the end and helped it blend more. But again, just kind of pouncing this and dabbing in those edges really helped darken those, and I just felt like gave it a lot better look. And then to fix those handles, I just took some of my bronze gilding wax and rubbed it all over the entire handle. And then the little pieces there on the side of the handle and the little latches on the front, all of that got the bronze gilding wax. I covered it well, and I started out with my finger and just decided to finish it off with a brush. Now, I got a lot better coverage that way. Most of the time when I'm using this gilding, it goes on really well with just my finger, but because I wanted this to be more solid and I needed to trim out around the edges anyway, the brush just gave me a lot more control. And I think that made a really big difference in this little case. And the inside, although you couldn't see it from the video because I put some things in it to stage it, it was more of a gold on the inside, so it just really worked well with the outside. And now the next item that I'm going to make over is this little heart that I got from that same wholesale place, actually. And So I just bought several of these, but they were all this color. And although I like it, I just felt some of them needed changed up. And so I'm going to add some stamping to this one. This is the script that comes from the Redesign with Prima set called Icy Paris. And it's just a good versatile script to use on items when you just need a small amount of script. But I'm working on that same napkin that I did the case with, and I'm going to do this one with some of the flowers from that also. And I just want a small amount on this. I'll put some on both sides. But again, I don't need a whole lot, and I'm just going to kind of let that wrap around the side. So now that will turn this into a little dresser dish, and it will work in your Shabby Chic vignette. I love using transfers because they're so easy and they have such a good look to them when they're finished. But I will always love napkin decoupage. It's so versatile, and the main thing is it's very inexpensive. And especially in this case, when you can get so many projects out of just one napkin. And I feel like even though you have to be really careful not to tear your image because it is very fragile, it's still fun to decoupage with, and it kind of molds really well to your items. And again, it's probably my favorite item to decoupage with because it is so versatile and you can get so many different kinds of napkins. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit on the other side, and then this one will be finished. Now I will go over this with a clear coat to make sure that it's sealed in really well. And then I'm going to be doing one more item with this napkin. And the next item is going to be another easy fix because it's another item that my friend Paula brought. And she had the hard part done on it, but I wanted to work it into this vignette, and I wanted to use this same napkin to finish it. So I'm just going to decoupage two more of these images on either side of this, and then I will do some stamping on it. Now this is that same script stamp from Redesigned by Prima, Icy Paris. And I'm gonna stamp that some on the bottom, and then in the center I'm gonna do another one of the stamps from that same set, Icy Paris, in the center. And then this item will be finished except for spraying it with a clear finish. So my items today were some quick little makeovers that I could do thanks to Paula for doing all the hard work first. And they were fun to do. I love to do some little quick items like this that you can make some very quick changes that really make a huge difference. And you can just add touches that, especially with the makeup case, the first item that I did doesn't even look like the same case. And other than adding all that brown glaze to darken around the edges, most of it didn't take very long at all. And if it weren't for the staining, I wouldn't have had to do that. But it turns out that it kind of worked out because it matched the inside a lot better. And somehow I didn't film where I added that center stamp. But again, it's just another one of these stamps from the set Icy Paris. And that's all that I did to this. I did clear coat over these. But I wouldn't have had to other than these because Paula did such a good job on on sealing this one. It was a very good quality painting. And now I'm just going to show you the vignette and show you those neat little planters that I got for to go in front of each of those windows. And it just made such a good little place for me to add some extra vignettes in the store. But as you can see, it's got the planter on the top. They're long, so it gives me plenty of room for a vignette. And then it has a little bottom shelf on it that I can kind of continue that vignette on down. And I just thought those were really neat. And I'm going to do another vignette for the other side of the doorway. And that just kind of, when someone comes in the door, that's the first thing that they see. So I just thought it would be a great place to add those. And I was even able to put some of the windows that I also got from that wholesale place. I was able to put a set of 3 of 2 different styles of windows in as a backdrop to this vignette, and that'll help them sell as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.